With 2 wins, probably with 16 points, you can be in the top 8. Not sure about that, but now the focus has to be the game at home, and then the next one. For sure, if we want to try to finish top 8, we need to win both. Otherwise, we try to play the playoff and then go to the next round.
Right, Dara, so after the draw with Arsenal, where they had 10 men, everyone was very positive about Chelsea. But since then, they lost to Leeds. They've drawn with Bournemouth, who had lost a bit of form, actually, and then defeat to Atalanta.
Yeah,
now, you could say, well, that's football, that happens.
Sure.
But there are people pointing to Maresca saying he's making too many changes. What do you think?
Trying to make him the new Ranieri, as a Tinkerman.
Yeah.
I think when you're playing with the intensity they play with, and they play, dominate the football, high press, all of that, and they've had a few injuries. But when you look at the way they play, I think he has to make changes. I think it's impossible for a manager and the style of play he has to play the same 9-10 players in a Champions League game and a league game. So modern day football, the way it is, I think tinkering, saying people are tinkering or changing too many players, I think it's wrong. I think it needs to be done. I've seen it myself with our players. Since our new managers come in, the intensity has risen, the pressing has risen, and our players struggled. They won their first few games, then they lost a couple of games because I could see they were hitting a wall and they were struggling. And we had injuries and we couldn't make 5-6 changes. But you thought, well, if we do and give them that refresher, they'll be fine to go again. That's down to the manager. So I'm sympathetic to him. I think they'll be fine. I think there's no drama. I know everyone likes to start creating drama. Well, they haven't won in 4 games and they've drawn 2 and lost 2, whatever else. I think it would be absolutely like this time 2 weeks ago, I think they beat Barcelona quite comfortably. And then 2 weeks later, suddenly the sky is falling. I'm absolutely behind that manager that they do need to make those changes to play the way he wants to play.
Let's bring in a Chelsea fan. Charlie Patrick is waiting to speak to us. Charlie, it was 5 changes again. What do you make of this tinkering?
I don't really mind it too much. I think, obviously, modern football, it's the way it's going. They're so careful about managing workloads with players nowadays. And if the changes weren't made and key players got injured, they'd be moaning about, oh, why weren't the changes made? For me, the problem is he's trying to be too clever. It's the reinventing of putting players in positions they're not really used to, trying to create new roles for players. Like last night, for example, we're finishing up with Malo Gusto and Marc Cucurella basically playing as a 2 number 10s when you've got an Esteval on the bench, you've got an Andre Santos on the bench as well. You finish a game with 6 or 7 defensive-minded players on the pitch. That's when the issues come, is that, A, he's trying to be too clever, reinventing the wheel. If it was just like-for-like changes in positions, I haven't got a problem with it. It's when he tries to become too clever and is making players play in roles that don't suit them, and they're not able to perform. They're not able to perform to the level that you expect from them. So I'm not against the rotation, but he's got to just simplify things and stop trying to be so clever. I think we're seeing it with a lot of managers at the moment in modern football. They're trying to be too clever, and by doing that, they actually end up looking more stupid than they want to do.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the bench, actually. Yes, he did bring on Garnacho, but Esteval, unused substitute, as you've mentioned. Mark Guiu was on the bench. Tyreek George, an attacking player. Buonanotte as well. So I suppose he did have those options there. And he only used 3 out of the possible 5 substitutions that he could have used. But the Esteval one, you particularly brought up Esteval. Is that the one that annoyed you the most?
Yeah, I think so, because when you look at what Esteval's done this season for Chelsea, he's our top scorer in the Champions League, scored 3 goals for us. You need a spark, you need some creation. The attackers have been really struggling. You've got a lot of defensive players on the pitch, as I said, and instead of that, he moves Jamie Gittins to the right-hand side. Gittins has been struggling in the game, not a good game. You've got Esteval there, ready, waiting to come on, someone a bit unpredictable, someone totally different, and he just totally overlooks him. And you've got fullbacks playing in attacking positions when you've got actual quality on the bench to use. I'm not saying we would have won the game with Esteval coming onto the pitch, but it would have given us a better chance. It would have given us, a bit of a lift. Gives the fans a lift. It gives the players a lift. You don't know what he's going to do on the ball. So, yeah, the decisions the manager's making at the moment they're a bit baffling, and he needs to take responsibility for that. Ultimately, last night was down to him. He got it completely wrong.
Dara, with a young player. Do you understand why? Everyone's talking about Esteval. Can you understand why he would be protected by his manager?
Of course, absolutely, yeah, because I've seen enough with our own young players that come through and whatever else, that they have good periods and they have bad periods. And when they're having a bad period or the legs are heavier, the pressure's on, sometimes you have to take them out of the firing line. I'm not saying he's having a bad period, by the way. But I agree with Charlie. The biggest frustration and anger from fans, forget results, is the square pegs, round holes. We talk about that all the time. Sometimes managers, it's almost like they have a God complex where they think they could, I'm going to put a goalkeeper up front, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to, you know, I've had it over 20 years as an owner. My gaffer will ring me and he goes, yeah, and by the way, I'm going to be doing this on Saturday. And in my mind, if you could see me on the other end of the phone screaming, no, knowing that this is going to backfire, because now fast forward 48 hours, my manager going afterwards on the phone, I've made a big mistake there. I can't believe I did that. Well, I can, because I was about to tell you, but I can't. That's not my place to tell you before you did it. So I totally get that frustration. I'm a Maresca fan. I think what he's doing at Chelsea is good. I think you had a great season last year. I think you'll have a really good season this year. But if a manager's doing things like that, he does need to check himself, and he does need to get over himself, because there's absolutely no reason to be doing stuff like that when you've got a squad that size, you've got players of that ability sat on the bench. 100%.
In general, Charlie, are the fans happy with Maresca? I know it has been mixed this season, but last time we spoke, it was very positive.
Yeah, look, obviously it was positive last time. We had a couple of good results, and things in football change so quickly. I think, look, broadly speaking, from where I'm coming from, my opinion, I'm still backing the manager. But right now, when you're on a run, look, a four-game winless run, right, is not terrible in terms of, you know, it's not something that can't be rectified. I think the biggest problem for me is the manner of the performances that we've had since the Arsenal game. We're going into games totally unprepared, like just not like it's like we didn't know what to expect from these games. You know, tactically we're all over the place. Like Chelsea are so easy to play against, and ultimately that's on the manager. So we've got a massive game against Everton. We've got Everton, Newcastle, and Aston Villa in the next 3 Premier League games. Like that's 3 massive games, tough games coming up, and he's got to turn things around. I still back him, but I can understand why people might be starting to lose faith in him. I can understand why the pressure's starting to build, because the manner of the performances and how unprepared Chelsea are looking in these games, particularly away games, you know, we're just not at the races at all. And that ultimately, that comes from the manager. You know, he talks about losing control last night. That's your responsibility to get control back in the game. And once again, against a team that plays a back 3 or a back 5, we've got no idea how to break those sort of teams down. Any game where Chelsea are favourites to win, we really struggle, and you don't know who's going to turn up. So the manager's got to find a solution to this. I back the manager, but I can only back him for so long. If I'm not seeing signs of improvement, if I'm not seeing signs of him turning things around, then it's very difficult to back someone when you're not seeing any signs of improvement. I hope he can turn it around. I want him to turn it around. I think for the sake of the club, he needs to turn it around. But there's some big question marks again, you know, and it's funny because we were sitting here a couple of weeks ago. Oh, we played brilliant against Barcelona, brilliant against Arsenal, and now
everything's turning around.
Everything's turning around again. But I think if you spoke to most Chelsea fans, they kind of sort of knew something like this would come, because it's kind of what we've been like for the last couple of seasons, and it just feels like a season that promised so much is in danger of unravelling so quickly.
Let me just say this before Charlie goes. Let me say this to all football fans. We're in December. We're not in April. We're not in May. We're in December. And whilst I get people get exasperated and get anxiety and lose their patience with bad runs, and we're talking about needing to turn it around after not winning for 4 games, not 10 or 15, sometimes calmness is needed as well. And calmness can be your greatest strength. Yeah. I've got no doubt Maresca, Chelsea will have another fantastic season like they did 6 months ago.
Charlie, keep calm. Speak to you soon, thank you.
Atalanta 2, Chelsea 1 then is how it finishes. Jan, you'll keep an eye on this game for us. What's going on with Chelsea?
Well, it's always when we talk about those contenders for anything that they are gone.
Yeah.
And today, I mean, we saw the goals there. I mean, 1-0 up, and then for me, yes, Camacho, it's so free. You can't do that. You get teased over to the near post, as Craig was alluding to, but still you can't let him do that. There is something with this Chelsea team that it reminds me of the good old Dortmund teams. You remember when one player went down, 7 went down? There is something with the mentality in that team. They go down together. It's not that 1 or 2 go down. It's like a mentality in the team. Joao Pedro had a chance there at the end. Having said that, we have to respect Atalanta, not a flyer in La Liga. No, Serie A, sorry. But in the Champions League, doing ever so well, and they were clever. And I think you were kind, Craig, to the goalkeeper on the second goal for Kettler. I think he didn't look well at that goal either. So a sad night for a Chelsea team that can't last as a contender more than 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, but I was just looking at the league table there. I think they're 10th.
Champions League table.
Yes.
Right.
They're 10th out of...
I'm being told they're 11th.
11th. 10th. I was looking down the glasses. All right. Smart Alec producer. Again. And, you know, there's 400 teams in this freaking league. You know, there's like 36 teams.
No, I understand the jeopardy's not there, but this isn't good for Chelsea.
This isn't about the Champions League per se. This is about their form, their consistency, their inability to take and harness what they had in the Arsenal game, which seems to be what everybody's talking about, because it was particularly good, and then go and do this. You know, lose at Leeds, albeit Maresca made 2, I think, big mistakes in the changes. He left out Neto and he left out Reece James. They were 2 of the best players against Arsenal. Bournemouth was a dull game. Bournemouth bossed the first half. Second half was pretty dull. And then a loss tonight. And I think that's more the concern for Enzo Maresca going forward rather than this Champions League table, is the fact that, are they going to pick it up? Can they put a consistent run of results together? Can they get a consistency within their team selection? Can they defend well enough, which we didn't see tonight? So I think those are all the questions that we thought we had the answers to from the game against Arsenal at home. We thought, wow, this could be pretty good. This is much better than we thought at the start of the season. And then we have these 3 games, big disappointment.
So who are the real Chelsea, Jan?
That's a good question. I think they will go through, though. If you see they're playing Paphos at home,
yeah, they'll be fine.
Napoli, they will be fine in doing that.
Yeah.
I think the real Chelsea are still looking for their identity somehow. I mean, we can see what they can do when they are very good. We can see that. But if you see their lowest point, it's too low to be up there. You see Manchester City as kind of going there, bad games, but still the bad is still at 3 points. With Chelsea, is the lowest point is too low, and you saw that today in key scenes in the game that they're not up for it. And but I think they will be all right. And maybe it's something wish thinking that we want the Premier League to be so exciting. We want Chelsea there, we want City there, we want Arsenal there, and they're probably not good enough mentally.
I bet we don't have any questions tonight on Extra Time about our Chelsea title contenders.
No,
And you know, that's what people...
that ship has sailed.
But
I'm
that's
going
what
to move on now. That's a nice segue into extra
but I was
time.
going to slaughter...
I was going to move on.
I was about to slaughter the people that send the questions in.
Well, you can do that freely on Extra Time today. That's available, of course, on our YouTube channel.
Melodramatic man he is.
Barca 2, Eintracht Frankfurt 1. My first question was going to be Jurgen. How would you react if Lamine did that?
I heard him on the phone to you. You said, I've had the producer on the phone. He just said, did you see Lamine Yamal throw a huge swat when he came off the field? Oh, a massive tantrum. A bit like Vinicius Junior, and we went, oh, that's a talking point. And then
He's let us down. He's let us down, is what he's done.
Never ever to be trusted again, that man in the gallery.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, go on, ask about the tantrum.
That's completely put me off what we were going to talk about. Barcelona win then, Jurgen, but once again, that little vulnerability at the back.
Yeah, it continues, but obviously for them, thankfully they won the game. 2 headers from Koundé. I thought the second header was a very difficult one for him, but I was wondering if the goalie maybe wanted to come out at a certain point because the ball was up in the air for quite a long time. Yeah. But no, it's a good result obviously for Barcelona, but they keep offering chances to their opponents, and Frankfurt is a little bit more clinical. They get an equalizer, they tie the game up with 2-2 or maybe even score before. But there's pure entertainment always guaranteed when you watch Barcelona, no doubt about it.
They'll offer up. I mean, I'm just
going to go to Jan. You don't even have to butt in.
I feel that I'm semi-recovering from the drama.
Jan, Eintracht Frankfurt would be disappointed, wouldn't it? They didn't get something from this game.
Disappointing. I mean, this is a team that concedes 6 goals a game. I mean, we're super happy. I mean, they lost 6-0 to Wolfsburg.
Yes.
now to Leipzig this weekend, and we conceded 29 in the Bundesliga. No team in the world has conceded more goals. No, to be fair, I think that, yes, Barcelona were the better team, but they didn't create a lot of chances that we feared, especially in the first half. I think they will be very disappointed the way that the goals came. I mean, if you made a list of the players who are going to score against you, and then you end up with 2 goals from Kunde, you will think, oh, we should have put the money on him because that was a high odds. I think Frankfurt will take this game into where they are at the moment in the table. Not so. I think they're 2 points away from a Champions League place, but still been a bit disappointing for them and conceding unbelievable numbers of goals. So I fear them. When I sat down to watch this game, I feared this game big time. But yes, the Champions League is gone now, and Jürgen will know the best words in German is Doppelbelastung. They have played Champions League and Bundesliga, Champions League and Bundesliga, Champions League and Bundesliga. The double kind of energy has taken a toll on Eintracht this season. So we just hope that they will sort it out before Christmas.
Yeah, and that Lamine Yamal drama has taken its toll on us.
Well, who'd have thought we'd talk more about Frankfurt than Lamine Yamal?
We'll never trust him again, will we?
Yeah, you know what he's like. Just a reminder, full programme of La Liga matches for you coming up this weekend. Barca, of course, looking to extend their lead at the top of the table. They're at home against Osasuna for Real Madrid, who will be in charge of their game away against Alaves. All these games are live on ESPN+. With a 3-1 victory. Jürgen and Jan still with us. Jürgen, talk to me about Leonard Carl.
Well, as a super special talent, absolutely outstanding at that age. It's impressive. He seems like just to play like he would play in the youth team. You know, he doesn't get bothered by 70,000 out there. Tackling very, very gifted, very creative. Has the smell for where the ball will end up in the box, which reminds me a little bit of Thomas Müller. He always knew where the ball will drop. So this is a very, very special kid. And I mean, obviously in Munich, the big discussion is, you know, once Musiala is coming back, how these two youngsters will play together. There's a lot of excitement there. And then there's the speculation, and Jan Agi knows that, you know, is this kid already mature enough to go to the World Cup next summer?
Would you take him, Jürgen?
Well, if you have a kid like that, I mean, obviously now you have 26 roster spots, you know, which is not so easy for a manager to deal with, 26 players instead of the 23 before that came all with COVID, obviously. Well, I would take him in a heartbeat, absolutely.
Well, Musiala, what will Musiala's fitness be by the World Cup? I mean, when are we expecting him back, guys, do we know?
I think we expect him back. It was a bit delayed. They hoped that he maybe gets some minutes before Christmas, but it seems now that they will save that to over the new year. So in a month, 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, he'll be back. Good news for Canada today. Alphonso Davies got some minutes today. Talking about injured players, been out for a while. So he was on the bench and came on in the 88th minute. So that's good news for Bayern and good news for Canada.
I suppose if Musiala's back and has 3 or 4 months of football, and this is not easy, and gets his form back, because when you have such a bad injury, we've seen it with Rodri at Manchester City. Come back in, you know, much more experienced player, but come back in, play some games, pick up some other injuries, play some games, pick up some niggles. These things can happen and they can really wear on you. And that might not be the case for Musiala, but we've seen it with Ansu Fati as a youngster at Barcelona. We've seen it with Pedri as a youngster coming back and getting niggles. So it would depend how he comes back in. If he comes back in and he's fully fit and he's flying, then Musiala will go to the World Cup. I suppose the one question you could be if Leonard Carroll keeps playing like this, is it Florian Wirtz that might be?
Right.
No. Florian Wirtz and Musiala will so go to the World Cup. They will go there with a Nike wheelchair. I mean, that is no chance. The big thing is
are you saying if Florian Wirtz, and listen,
yes.
I think they're great players, but even great players have poor seasons. Are Germany still, if Florian Wirtz continues to have a very, very average season for Liverpool, in and out the team, left out the team, are you saying there's no chance the youngster would go?
I think the youngster will go. I think Jürgen makes a very good point with a 26-man squad. I think you should bring in players, be ready for the next World Cup, the next European Championship. But Florian Wirtz and Musiala got so much credit in the bank.
Yep.
They are seen as the future of Germany, even if they have a poor season. But I would bring Leonard Karl, absolutely. And the thing is, I think the last game of Germany, there were 5 Bayern players in the team, and with the form Bayern is having now, they can only help Julian Nagelsmann. And there we see how proud he is. So many players he dares to play in the starting lineup, because at the moment Bayern is playing better than the German national team.
Yeah, very true, Jürgen. How much does that play on your mind if at all as a national manager?
Well, as a national manager, I mean, obviously you observe now all your players, for the next 5-6 months, and see what rhythm they're taking, and what form they are. But I mean, it's not that Germany has now 20 world-class players. You have your top players within your team, the first starting 11, and then you have the key players coming off the bench, 12 to 15, 12 to 16, and then you have players that you hopefully can feed into the team at a certain moment, maybe with some specific qualities that you need suddenly to break a result, or to defend a result, or whatever. So I'm sure that Julian Nagelsmann knows already who to count on, and I just think in a World Cup, when you go into that period of the 2.5-3 weeks of preparation, and then obviously this World Cup will be exceptional with 48 teams, and it's going to be a 5.5 weeks tournament. Things will happen there that you cannot even think about right now. And even if Musiala now maybe is not ready yet, he still can grow into the tournament at the end of the day to make a difference. Let's say in the semifinal or in final, if you make it all the way to the semifinal or final. So it's a lot about timing. It's a lot about the momentum. It's a lot about the chemistry of the team. And even if Florian Wirtz maybe has not the best season, or is in his first season at Liverpool, he might be a completely different Florian Wirtz with the German national team than coming to the United States. So there are so many little topics that the national team coach have to deal with, and it's obviously it's fun to deal with those topics. But I think the German side, looking at it from the outside, has a very competitive squad.
Chelsea's Champions League journey hit a bump in Italy as the Blues fell 2-1 to Atalanta at the New Balance Arena. After taking an early lead, Chelsea couldn't hold on, as Atalanta turned the game on its head in a dramatic second half. Let's break down how the match unfolded. Chelsea started the game strongly and were rewarded early. In the 25th minute, João Pedro capitalized on a perfect assist from Reece James to put the Blues ahead. The finish was clinical, and for a while, it looked as though Chelsea might control the game from there. But Atalanta responded in the second half, and it was Gianluca Scamacca who levelled the scores in the 55th minute. The forward made the most of a precise delivery from Charles de Ketelaere to finish confidently past Chelsea's goalkeeper. Suddenly, the home side had all the momentum. Chelsea tried to regain control, but Atalanta's persistence paid off late. In the 83rd minute, de Ketelaere turned provider once more, setting up Martin de Roon to fire home the decisive goal. Chelsea's defence couldn't react in time, and the Italians completed a memorable turnaround. Despite João Pedro's early brilliance and Chelsea's moments of promise, the Blues were left empty-handed. Atalanta showed why they are so dangerous at home, using pace, precision, and composure to turn the game in their favour. A tough night for Chelsea in Italy, and a reminder that Champions League football can turn on moments of quality and concentration. Atalanta capitalised on theirs, leaving the Blues to regroup and refocus ahead of the remaining group stage fixtures. Stay tuned to SportLab for full tactical analysis, player ratings, and highlights as Chelsea aim to bounce back in Europe.